You think you know horror movies? You think it's all just fiction, just special effects and jump scares. The truth is so much worse. The most terrifying stories aren't written, they're found. They're unearthed from old case files, hushed-up medical reports, and forgotten news clippings. Today, we re-pulling back the curtain to reveal the bone-chilling true facts that inspired the scariest movies ever made. These aren't just stories. They happened. Let's start with a film that has haunted audiences for decades, The Exorcist. When it hit theaters in 1973, people fainted, vomited, and ran screaming from the cinema. But the on-screen horror was just a shadow of the real event. The film was directly inspired by the 1949 exorcism of a 14-year-old boy, known by the pseudonym Roland Doe. This wasn't a secret ritual performed in a dusty basement. It was a documented ordeal witnessed by nearly a dozen priests and multiple doctors over several agonizing weeks. The reports are genuinely terrifying. Witnesses described a heavy oak bed shaking so violently it would slide across the room, with the boy strapped to it. Heavy furniture, including chairs and dressers, would lift off the floor and fly toward the priests. Objects would allegedly materialize out of thin air and strike people. Most disturbingly, words like hell and evil reportedly appeared on the boy's skin as raised red welts, as if carved from the inside. Priests documented him speaking in a guttural, otherworldly voice, sometimes in languages he'd never studied, displaying a knowledge of ancient history and theology far beyond his years. At one point, multiple witnesses claimed the mattress he was on levitated several inches off the bed frame. The Catholic Church considered the case so profoundly disturbing and authentic that the detailed diary kept by the lead exorcist, Father Raymond Bishop, was sealed away for decades. The Exorcist wasn't an invention. It was a report. It was a warning that the evils we imagine on screen might be far more real and closer than we think. Now, let's move from supernatural terror to something more primal. Something that lurks just beneath the surface of our world. An entire generation became terrified of the ocean. And why? Because the story wasn't just a story. It was a memory. The film's monstrous shark was based on a series of real-life attacks that terrorized the Jersey Shore. During a heatwave in the summer of 1916, for 12 sweltering days in July, a real-life monster stalked the coast. It began on July 1st, when a young man named Charles Van Sant was attacked in shallow water in Beach Haven. He was pulled from the surf, bleeding profusely, and died on the manager's desk of the hotel where he was staying. The public was alarmed, but experts assured them it was a fluke, a one-off tragedy. They were wrong. 5 days later, and 45 miles to the north, another man, Charles Bruder, was attacked and killed while swimming. The panic began to set in. But the worst was yet to come. The shark then did something unthinkable. It swam inland, up Matawan Creek, a narrow tidal river. This is where the true horror unfolded. On July 12th, locals saw a fin slicing through the creek. An 11-year-old boy, Lester Stillwell, was pulled under while playing with his friends. A local man named Watson Stanley Fisher bravely dove in to rescue the boy, but was horrifically mauled in the process. He died hours later from massive blood loss, less than 30 minutes after that, and only half a mile upstream. The same shark attacked another boy, Joseph Dunn, tearing away a chunk of his leg. He was the only one of the 5 victims to survive. 4 people dead, 1 maimed, in just 12 days. The attacks created a national hysteria. The Jersey Shore became a ghost town. The events of 1916 proved that the monster from the deep wasn't just a Hollywood fantasy. It was real, and it had tasted blood in the one place everyone thought was safe. But perhaps the most intimate and psychologically devastating horror comes not from a demon or a monster, but from our own minds. What if the place you're supposed to feel safest your own sleep became a hunting ground? Wes Craven's A Nightmare on Elm Street gave us Freddy Krueger, a monster who kills you in your dreams. It sounds like pure fantasy, right? It wasn't. Craven got the idea from a series of terrifying and mysterious real-life events. In the late 1970s and early 80s, the Los Angeles Times ran a series of articles about a baffling phenomenon affecting among refugees who had fled the war in Southeast Asia. These were strong, healthy young men who were, inexplicably, dying in their sleep. Survivors and family members told chillingly similar stories. The men would complain of being haunted by terrifying, relentless nightmares. They spoke of a dark figure, a specter, trying to kill them in their sleep. The terror was so profound that many of them refused to go to sleep, staying awake for days on end, using coffee, alarms, anything to fight it off. But eventually, exhaustion would win. And then their families would hear them screaming and thrashing in the night. By the time they rushed into the room, it was too late. The men were dead. Autopsies found no clear cause of death. Their hearts had just ... stopped. The phenomenon became so widespread it was given a medical name: Sudden Unexpected Nocturnal Death Syndrome, or SUNS. It was a real-life nightmare epidemic. Doctors were baffled. The Hmong community believed it was a Sag Suim, an evil spirit punishing them for leaving their homeland. Wes Craven read these accounts and was deeply disturbed by the idea that a fear could become so powerful, so real in a person's mind that it could physically manifest and kill them. He took this horrifying reality that you could be so scared you could literally die in your sleep and created Freddy Krueger. The concept wasn't fiction. It was a documented medical mystery that claimed real lives. From demonic possession to creatures from the deep to the terrors hidden within our own subconscious, the pattern is clear. The stories that scare us the most are the ones that echo a terrifying truth. They remind us that the world is older, stranger, and far more dangerous than we like to admit. The greatest horror directors don't invent fear. They simply listen to the whispers of history, to the true stories that are too frightening to be told around a campfire. They know that the most effective horror isn't about what could happen. It's about what already has. So the next time you watch a scary movie and tell yourself it's only a movie, just remember Roland Doe, the victims of the Jersey Shore, and the men who died dreaming. The real world is full of monsters, and sometimes they make it to the big screen. Thanks for watching. If you want to dive deeper into the true stories behind your favorite horrors, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. We've got so much more darkness to uncover. We'll see you in the next one.